Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Sheila. Good to see you today. We are going to be taking this can. This was a coffee can. I took the label off. It was one of the chock full of nuts. It could be any kind of coffee can. Does not have to be a certain one, or a soup can, or anything that you have, or nuts. Anything that comes in there, just make sure you clean it well inside. And I went ahead and put a coat of the Polyvine decorator's varnish on my can before I started painting it. That gives it a coat. You could also use, they've got other products like this, the product from Dixie Belle. It used to be called Slick Stick. They've changed the name of it, and I need to order some of that, and you can put that on your can and it helps seal it. It just gives it an extra seal so that your paint isn't flaking off as much. If you want your paint to flake more, then you wouldn't put that coat on. So I put that on and we have started painting. We are going to go ahead and paint it up in the Cashew by Waverly, any kind of cream paint. I like to use chalk paint on these cans. They just seem to work well. If your paint is thick, add you just a little squirt of water. I use the spring water, or one of the other waters that doesn't have anything in it, distilled water, anything like that. And I'm going to go ahead and give it a coat, and we might need 2 coats on this because sometimes you need 2 coats. So you could make this a squish can project, or you can just make it a can that you can use for a container to put flowers in. And I would put silk flowers in here. If you were going to put real flowers in here, what you would do is take you a glass jar with your water and put it in there, and that way you're not directly on your metal. So just use a little jar inside, or a vase if you decided to use fresh flowers in here, which would be really pretty. Y'all be sure and subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I would appreciate that. And share me out to your friends and have them give me a subscribe as well. I am also on some other venues, some other avenues that you can check out. I have a page, Sweetie's Creations and Decor. I'm just going to give that a good coat. I'm going to dry it up a little bit, and I'm going to go ahead and put a second coat on here just to get a good coat on it. So I'm going to dry it up just a little bit, and I'm just using one of my heat tools, and then I will put another coat. Now remember that these are very hot, so your can gets kind of warm when it's a metal can, so just be careful with your drying and make sure that you're not getting your hand too warm in there. You can always put a little glove on or something to help protect your hand. I think as creators we don't have any fingertips anymore because we have used them so much with hot glue and hot tools and all those things. So it is starting to get a little bit warm. So I'm just going to take it and put it to the side right now and just let that dry a little bit on its own, and we're going to start on our prints. So this print is from Reba Rose Creations. There's 4 of them on there. This is a collage. There's 4 of them on here. This one, I'm going to use this one today, and this one. And then you've got 2 more for 2 other projects, or you can do 2 cans, or you could put them in a frame, anything that you would like. So those are from Reba Rose Creations, and I will put the link to that as soon as I post a video. I'll put my link for that. Now my water pen's working pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and give it a little extra squirt. You can use a pen, you can use a brush and water. Don't put a ton of water on there though. You just want to kind of spread it a little thin because you don't want to get a lot of watermarks on your prints. Now when you order these prints, you will get Reba's premium paper when she sends them to you. I printed this one myself with some rice paper, and so it's not going to be the same kind that she uses. And these are so cute for spring, summer, on into fall. We have bees here for quite a while in the south, so we are enjoying the bees for quite a time. There's a lot of bumblebees. Bumblebees usually won't bother you if you don't bother them. They kind of just share the road with you. And these are little honeybees. So if you do have bees in your yard, to attract them, you want to have some good florals that they're attracted to for them to make honey. If you can eat honey out of your area, that is the best medicine for you, because honey is really good for you. Now you could, if you didn't want to paint this, you could use some recycled tea bags. I love to recycle and reuse. You could use some tea bags when you get through with your tea. Put them out and let them dry, and then pour the tea out of them. And then you've got a really nice paper background, better than tissue paper because it's thicker, and it works great. And you can see some of those projects that I've done. So we've got that one all cut now, and you see I've got it watermarked. We're going to use 2 of these, so I'm going to go ahead and do this one as well, and that way we'll have these ready, and I can go ahead and get another coat of paint on our can. This gives it a little bit more control, and that's okay if it's not perfect. We are not about perfection. I'm going to get a little bit more white off on this edge right here. I'm just going to take my fingers and hold it. There we go. So now we've got both of those ready for our project. And let's put one more coat on here. So I just like to take just a little paper plate and use it and pour my paint out. I don't really like to paint straight out of my jars because it can contaminate your paint when you're going back in. I'm going to go ahead and paint this top. I am going to be using the top on this one, I believe. But you also, I'm going to show you how you can make you an arrangement in here. So you could do either one or both to have it ready. And let's just get that kind of all dried up. Thank you for subscribing. I'm trying to grow my segments here. Now I do have a yellow top that came with this, and I'm not going to paint the yellow top. If you paint it, you might have to put more than one coat, and I would seal it as well. I've got this little material that I picked up somewhere, and it's got a little beehive. It's kind of looking like something I got at Joann's or Walmart, and it has these cute little prints. I thought that was so sweet. I've had that a little while, and I just thought I'll just cut out a piece to put on top. I'll put some sealer on there. You of course could use some other decoupage medium as well. Let's take, I just use a sponge. This comes from the dollar store, Walmart, wherever you can find them. It's just a car wash sponge. It's great to cut up and use on these, and that way you're not using those foam brushes that you have to wash out or anything. I really don't think they ever wash out well, plus I don't like to put that down the sink. So I just throw them away when I'm through with them, and that works well. Then I'm just going to put this on here, this little piece of fabric, and that is going to be cute on our top. And I'm going to go ahead and seal it a little bit. I may have to come back and seal it. Sometimes material takes a little bit longer, and sometimes you have to add a little bit of glue. I'll put just a dot or two to get that to go ahead and hold now. I'm just putting a light dot of that hot glue, and that way we can hold it for right now. Okay, so we've got that. We're going to put that to the side. Now let's put our print on there, and then I'm going to use a couple of stamps. So the seam on this, now you could also rust this up a little bit if you want to. My seam is right there, so I'm going to start on this piece right here. And I see a little bit where I need to give a little bit of paint where I touched it a little bit, so let me do that. So if you notice that your paint isn't exactly right, just go back and touch it up just a little bit. We'll just put a little tool on that. And when you play my video, would you please give me a comment, a sweet comment? I appreciate that. Appreciate your sharing all the good things. All right, let's decide which one I wanted on front. I love both of these. They're so precious. I think we'll put this one here. So let's go ahead and get a little bit more of our decorator's varnish. Let's see if it will work today. I have sometimes I like this varnish and sometimes it doesn't work as well as I'd like for it to. So I did try it and liked it, but when I got it again, I have not liked it as much. There's nothing wrong with it. It does work, but I just didn't seem to get what I wanted from it with its sealing. So we're going to see if it'll work today. This one's going to go, let's see, I'll make sure I've got that correct. I do. That's going to go right on here. I'm going to go ahead and take my edges and bring them down with our varnish. Then I'm going to go to this side and do the same thing. And then I will give it a coat on top after it dries. I found that this product works best if I wait and let it dry and then put a top coat on there. And that's the way a lot of the varnishes are, just so you'll know. Sometimes they work better if you do that. So now I've got that beautiful bee print on the front. Let's take our ink stamps. You notice that it's got a little writing on here, and I love that. So I wanted to kind of put a little bit of that on here. So I've got a couple of stamps that I got from Hobby Lobby, and this one looks like a French wording, and I think that just fits with what's on there. So let me make sure which direction it goes, because you don't want it upside. It's okay if it's upside down because it definitely will work, but I don't want to see which way I've got it here. So I do a little stamping on my plate here to see which way. Okay, and that's upside down, so we know we want it this direction. There we go. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my black ink, and I'm just going to put a little bit of a stamp on here, just to make it kind of match up with what's on our can. So I like that, and then we can do the other end as well, and I'm going to put it about right in here and just stamp that up just a little bit. Does not have to be perfect at all. That's just going to give it a little look there. Make sure I've got it like I want. Yes, okay. Now you can get one of those little pieces that you can put on the back of this. Makes it a little bit easier to stamp if you get that. All right, I'm liking that so far. So we're going to be putting our other bee on the back. Before I put any more ink on there, I want to put this one on because it's going to go right here. We're going to have one on each side. That way, if I put this on a tiered tray, on a coffee table, anything like that, and when somebody is sitting or walks by, you want them to be able to see both sides. So be thinking of that when you are creating. If it's something that you're going to put that you can see the back side, make sure that it's painted, or make sure that you have something on the back. So you definitely could just use one if you're going to put this on a tray that you can't see the back, but I like to go ahead and prepare it both sides so that it is ready either way you want to use it. You definitely could put something else if you didn't want to put another bee, but I love the bees. You could put just a plain sunflower or something else, or one of the other prints. Reba has many prints, lots to choose from, so you definitely will find something you like. And I'm getting a little bit over that print right there, but that is okay. I'm not going to worry about that because it definitely is just going to blend in. And don't worry about perfection. Crafting is not perfection at all. Okay, we got that one on. Let's put that to the side. I'm going to take a little bit more of my ink. I forget which side to use, so I usually just do it on my plate over here and see if I've got the correct direction. And you see there's some more ink in the background here, so I'm going to put this one on this side a little bit over on our print, so it kind of went over just a little bit on our print, and I really like that. So you could use any kind of stamps you want. I have other stamps as well. You've got all kinds that you can use on this, so just choose one that you like. Now let's take it and put just a little bit of some distressed oxide on there, just to give it more of an antique kind of look. So I'm going to put a little bit around our edge here, just like that. I like a little bit on my edge just to bring a little bit more of an antique old look. So these make me really feel like an older print, so I'm just going to put some around the sides. And I like to cover up if I get some of the whiteness on the edge of my print where I've torn it. I kind of use a little bit of brown to bring that in where it blends in more with your background. So that's the reason that I do it, is you'll see that on a lot of my projects, because I like to kind of blend that in where it kind of just looks like it just flows into your project. Put a little bit on the bottom of your can, on the edges here. Don't have to put a ton, just a little bit to give it a little personality. A little personality. I always say it's a little personality. Now there's a couple of... So this is a pretty simple project, easy peasy decoupage. Doesn't have to be hard. When I first started decoupage, I was a little bit more scared of it. Now I've gotten used to it and I really like it. So it's one of my favorites. So you see that was not hard. It wasn't anything real fancy, but it's something that will look cute. So let's go ahead and put a piece in here. And I'm just going to put some hot glue on the bottom, a little bit of that foam, and I'm going to turn it up just like that. That way you don't have to use a big old piece. Just use whatever you need to go by with. Just whatever will get you by. Now I'm going to take a little of this moss. Now y'all, I will tell you that this moss does kind of get your fingers green, so just be aware of that. I'm going to go ahead and put some on my piece in here. Now I'm not going to glue it down, because gluing it makes it hard on the top and it's hard to get your florals in. If you didn't know that, it is. So let's take some of our beautiful sunflowers now. These come from the Hobby Lobby, and these were $8.99 with 40% off. I love the leaves and everything on these, really beautiful. Let's just take some of those and let's get our cutters. I'm going to bring my leaf as far up as I can get it. And then if you want a second one, do that. And let's get these to where we can get them in our arrangement here. That's going to look so pretty. So you just make a decision on if you want both leaves or one. I do push mine up. It does look better to me for the leaves to be pushed up just a little bit. We're just going to put a few in here just to give it. And I like this soft foam because it makes it, to me, a little easier for you to push in. Let's get one more on the back, and I'm going to make it a little bit longer so we can make that one stand up a little bit more. And that might be too much. I can always take it out and redo. That's a little tall, so I'm going to cut off just a little bit of it. You could put any kind of moss you want. And I'm going to put that one kind of right there. I'm going to push it out that way a little bit. I'm going to move this one over just a little bit. There we go. I kind of like that better. Now I'm going to put some greenery with it. That might be enough florals. We can see. You can always add also some of the roses if you want to add some roses in there. It doesn't have to be all sunflowers, but I do like the sunflowers with that. So now let's see, I've got some other greenery. I've got a couple of different greeneries. This is one that I like. This comes on a bush from Hobby Lobby. And I like it. Let's cut a little bit of it off. It kind of grabs into itself. And this is just one of their greenery bushes. I'm going to put a little bit of that right here. I like that with it. Oh yeah, that kind of brings out those colors a little bit. That looks pretty. Let's put one on the other side. Definitely like this greenery. Let's get and let's put another piece back in here like that. And then let's take a little bit of our greenery. This is another greenery from the Hobby Lobby. Now I find a lot of my greenery at the Hobby Lobby. I've tried other places, but I usually always come up with the greenery that I like there. But you definitely don't have to use theirs. You can get whatever you want. Now look how pretty that is. Isn't that pretty? And then here's your other side. That was just simple. But how cute is that? I love that. Now let's work on our top a little bit. And I'm not going to put the top on today. I'm just going to place it to the side. But you definitely could paint around if you didn't like the yellow. But the yellow is going to blend in fine. I've got a little mushroom. I'm going to use it. Just a little mushroom for something different. The little mushrooms are very popular this year. So let's put that on there. Let's put, I'm thinking on, let's see which side, y'all. Okay, let's see. I think what I'm going to do is right here on the front, I'm going to place one of the florals, the sunflower. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little mushroom on there, and I put a little sunflower that I got also on a, these are the little paper sunflowers. Going to put one of those, and we're going to add a little bee, and that's all we're going to do to that. Just something simple. And I'm going to put a little bee right here. And now we've got our top finished. We can also put some oxide on that. Now you might want to use ink because it may not stay as well on this unless you seal it. Now if you give it a seal, it should work fine. Just a little bit here and there. That's what I used on my little mushroom. We'll just put a little bit of that to give it a little look to make it match right in. And that's all there is to it. So now you've got your top. We've got a little vase that we